Hey there YouTube, I'm Yukitsu, this is Yukitsu Times. Welcome to my channel, welcome to Company of Heroes 2. This time we're playing as the Nazis, and they're basically going to be something that I'm not as familiar with. I've played a lot more Soviet games, but I do feel that they're quite a bit more powerful in a certain sense. Now, early on you do have to build this infantry company. Unlike the Soviets, you cannot build anything out of this main building here, and that's one of the many things that's going to highlight the main weakness of this particular faction. The standard German forces have an incredibly weak early game. All they've really got are grenadiers and special weapons companies and a sniper, which is a really bad idea under a lot of situations. I've used them and I've gotten good use out of them from time to time, but they're very difficult to use. The Soviets, on the other hand, as you can see, they've got a company of conscripts already out and well into the field by the time I've got my first group of grenadiers even remotely out. I am a little bit more on the ball than my opponent, though, so I've pushed out my pioneers and have started capping a little bit earlier than him. It's just that he's going to be able to sort of move out with a combination of conscripts and these guys. He also could have completely discarded building the support weapon Campania, but he does seem to want to build a lot of support weapons, so you're going to see him come out with this Maxim heavy machine gun pretty much immediately. Now, the way that you play Germans in this particular game, and the Wehrmacht in particular, as opposed to the Oberkommando West, is to really focus on capturing these resource points instead of focusing on any sort of on the victory points, because you're going to be able to have an amazing late game so long as you've got the resources for it. And to do that, you want to survive the early game, and you have to spend these resources, this munitions and fuel, to get to the late game. Now, I'm going to put these on ×2 speed because we do have 2 games to get through, and I just want to talk about the general principles of it. But the German army is basically really weak early game, so much so that if you don't know how to survive it, like I often don't know how to survive it, you'll actually feel like they're an incredibly weak faction. And in some matchups, they actually are an incredibly weak faction if you are against someone who can prevent you from surviving to the late game. But like here, our infantry is kind of getting shredded up, but we're in a good position to try and flank these units. I mean, I'm attacking from 3 different sides here, which is how you want to attack a machine gun. This unit got pinned, but I've still got plenty of people firing away. I'm forced to retreat them back. I'm just using these guys as sacrificial infantry while I keep firing at these guys with my these guys, and these guys have moved in here as well. So basically, I've moved in a ton of troops to try and defeat this unit here, and I'm actually going to be able to kill their machine gun. So while these guys are pinned down, I'm able to get another flanking unit closer in and just wipe it out. So that's a good kill. And then these guys are not really going to be able to fight one-on-one against the Grenadiers, so they get chased away. They're not going to get wiped out, but this does give me an opportunity to steal an MG Maxim. So I take that and I retreat that unit back while I'm busy capturing this point here. But that is a nice little free capture there. So at this point in time, we've both lost 1 unit. I've lost an engineer squad or a pioneer squad, and he has lost his much more expensive MG. I have lost a lot of individual troops though, and they're very expensive to replace as the Germans, which is one of those sort of big disadvantages early game. It's trying to recover from that. Now, I'm going for a very rapid tier 1, or escalation to battle phase 1, and the reason I'm doing this is because I really want to get a half-track out. And the reason I want to do that is my opponent's not building conscripts. Conscripts could easily take out a half-track. You've seen me do it in my replays, where I just throw AT nades at it. My opponent, I don't even think he's researched AT grenades, so let's take a look at this. Yep, does not have AT grenades. He does have his field hospital, which is quite good. In any event, though, we are going to see that he's got his machine gun, which I figured I could flank, guarded by another machine gun on that flank. So I really, really need something else here. I'm going to move these troops around, and I'm just going to be backcapping with them. I'm more interested in making sure that I'm catching these resource points as opposed to getting the victory points. But even so, like, at this point in time, though, my half-track does, or my scout car does come out. And that is going to be able to chase away all of my opponent's weapon emplacements. So this is going to be that thing that's going to turn the momentum in my favor, and the momentum is mostly going to be in my favor for the rest of the game. And that's kind of how the German faction works, is they are very much that sort of suffer a little bit at the beginning and end up in a really, really dominating position a little bit later once you've sort of got your opponent on the lurch. So able to chase away his mortar, his machine gun, and with that I'm able to start moving out with my infantry all over the place here. And I'm able to sort of chase away some of his units, cause some casualties, and I put this in here to cause some control and some chaos in that area. Again, he's got this machine gun located here, and I'm actually able to completely kill it with a scout car. He loses the entire unit, so that's really good for me. He has unfortunately got this guards rifle infantry called in here. That's going to force my scout car back, but my scout car is basically done now. It's done its duty. It's done what it needs to have done. I'm going to actually try and engage these guys with my my grenadiers. These guys are not the best against infantry, so this is a perfectly fine fight for me to get into. Now, at this point in time, I do want to get this healed up so that I can continue using it to harass my opponent. It's got pretty good range, and if I can take advantage of that, it can do pretty good work. But in any event, I'm again trying to capture these resource points preferentially. I don't really care about the victory points. I've got him locked down a little bit here by my machine gun crew, but I'm forced to retreat because I've noticed there's a mortar zeroing in on it. And now he's got this M5 half-track transport, which is a really strong transport. I don't know why he bought it, though. I think the T-70 is a much better buy. The half-track, once it's got the flak cannon upgrade, is very, very difficult to kill, though. So, like, this thing has got the anti-aircraft. It's just really, really tough. I do hit it with 2 Panzerfausts, and then get my... I do manage to get my flak in here, and the flak is going to be able to finish it off, and then finish off the engineers. So that was a really good buy, this scout car. So that was a very expensive unit that they just lost. That was supposed to really turn that around for them, but since I was using the grenadiers, basic infantry, I'm able to get more sort of done by Panzerfausting that unit. That does put my Panzer Grenadiers behind in terms of getting the Panzerschreck, but that's fine. Up here, he's got these riflemen conscripts. I'm able to sort of shred the unit with my Panzer Grenadiers, even though he kills half my unit. It was kind of bullshit luck that he did that anyway, but I would have actually won that if he stuck around a little longer, because these guys were on such low health each. But over here, he's got these guards again, and I didn't realize these were guards when I came in, and they just completely wipe out my scout car. But at this point in time, my scout car wasn't really useful anyway, so I'm not too worried about having lost that. Either way, though, we're a little bit behind, in my opinion. I'm escalated up to Battle Phase 2, though, and I'm capable of building the tank battalion at this point in time, so we are going to get a little bit further ahead now. I'm going to manage to do a little bit of good work with this MG, so yeah. These guards, again, are going to get chased off, and I'm going to be able to capture this. However, he has got this T-34 now, and I don't have any anti-tank, so we're going to be in a little bit of a problem. I'm forced to just outright retreat all my units, and I'm forced to get a Panzerschreck on this far unit, since it's the only one that can. Now, I can hit retreat, and it'll continue to build, and you'll see me doing that in just a second here, I think. But yeah, he is literally just attacking my base. So about here, I get my Panzerschrecks, and they'll get into the base. I can't Panzerfaust this even because of what I've done here, but that's fine. The medics have all run off because of the tank attacking me. I moved these guys in here just so that I can avoid any problems. His tank killing the infantry that were in it. Kills one anyway, but he hasn't managed to kill my building enough, so... I did get this just in case my unit didn't get back in time, but we did fortunately manage to get back in time. Now I've got this pack, which is going to actually accomplish pretty much nothing, unfortunately, but that is the case. Now, his T-34 has taken a little bit of damage, but not very much. I'm going to definitely need another anti-tank weapon, so just the Panzerschreck in one squad is not enough. Typically, you either want 2, or you want your unit to have something else. Now, he hasn't even gotten to a level 1 T-34, or 1-star T-34. Now, he throws away that thing just really badly. He just runs it right into these guys. That was brutal, though. He just immediately wiped out my unit with the Panzerschrecks. With something, I'm not even sure what. It might have been a landmine, it might have been a mortar, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't a landmine because he hasn't had engineers in a long time, so... Could have been, though. Still, we're working eventually on getting a Panzer, but for now we just don't have the gas or resources for it. We just have to hold on until we can get that, and that's going to help us sort of reverse the course of battle. At this point in time, though, we're taking all of these different points. We want to get as many as we can so that we're going to be able to fend off our opponent later on with our higher tech weapons. Again, that's the important thing. We've replaced our Panzerschrecks. means that if he attacks our base directly, again, we'll be able to take out these tanks, or at least eventually take out those tanks, as long as he doesn't get too many more of them. He's been building these half-track transports. I really don't agree with that purchase, but they're not that expensive, I guess, so it's not really a terrible buy. So, Guards rifles. I sort of pulled my unit back. My guys are bad at fighting infantry at this point in time because of their bazookas. But I've got the Panzer IV now, and it's going to start heading up there. It's going to get the pintle-mounted gun immediately as well, so it's a good buy. Here, we managed to corner these Guards rifles. Guards rifles do really poorly against infantry, so long as they're not dedicated to anti-tank. These guys, Grenadiers, have sort of moved in. I don't want them firing this mortar too much for this combat, but unfortunately I can't chase it away. We get into a fight with our tanks. I'm able to back up a little bit. I take some hits, but I managed to completely wreck his tank with Shreks. Now he's going to completely crush a unit with his tank, which is really lucky, but you know, I've never actually had that happen in my favor before, but either way, he's going to get another mortar shot that's going to kill these guys if I recall correctly, but actually I think I ran over my own guys. Interesting. Either way, Panzer going through, just wrecking all his stuff. It's going to actually run in here and just kill a bunch more guys. It's going to get hit in the side when it says this, but I'm going to be able to retreat back after that. I'm just like, oh shit, after I take that hit, I'm just going to have to back out of here. But I've already killed 11 people, which is quite a lot. I've lost my gun, but I mean, I'm able to wheel out of there, so they didn't hit my engine. The engine shot would have really wrecked me. I do get back with a little bit of a ball of infantry. I've still got my Panzer Shreks intact, so we're basically going to be able to recover here. Our opponent has got very little. He's got his guards, he's got some flamethrowers, he's got some weapon emplacements, but he's sort of in a bad place at this point in time compared to where I am, because the units I do have are much better sort of in the late game. Now, he's starting to recapture this point with just a couple of guys. I can't really... I think he's trying to lure this guy into range of his grenade. His anti-tank grenade would actually have killed that, but in any event, we've managed to bring in another Panzer IV, so this is going to basically allow us to deal a bit of a decisive blow against our opponent here. Our opponent is pooling up a lot of resources. He wants to get his 2 T-34 call-in, but we're going to try and not let him do that by any stretch. Now, these guards, very high veterancy. In fact, max veterancy, but that's still not going to help them in this situation. They're just not capable of fighting in this environment. They do actually kill a lot of my guys, though, a lot of my Panzer Grenadiers. Forced to retreat back, that's fine, though. This Panzer, just about fixed. This guy up here just being an asshole, capturing a lot of things in the background there. This is my pack. They've managed to pick it up. We're just going to run our tanks around in circles, wipe that out really quickly, and just sort of move around and try and take out more of his infantry as possible. So, our opponent really running out of things to sort of try and stop our panzers with. He's got his Zisses very cleverly positioned around his base because he doesn't want me to just overrun his base, but he really needs to sort of supplement his troops with some anti-tank capability, since all I'm doing is running through and killing him with my tanks. Very simple. He's in fact going to get another anti-tank weapon, if I recall. Either way, though, we're forced back. He brings his Panzer, or this up here to try and counter if I continue pushing, but I mean, at this point in time, we've accomplished quite a lot. We're going to bring our Panzers back and start repairing them. He's got some conscripts, very high veterancy, coming up here to try and recapture this point, but at this point in time, I'm getting way more resources than he is. If we look here, you can see that his gas income is very low compared to mine. He's going to actually spend some on something, I'm not really sure what, but he really kind of needs to save up and try and get something to try and turn the tide here, but there aren't very many things that can do that at this particular point. Now, I've got my Ostwind, I've got 2 Panzer IVs, I've got Panzer Shreks. There is no armor in particular that his faction can produce that is going to really intimidate me at this point in time. But there are... And so he's building a lot of these Zis guns, just absolutely spamming the shit out of them. But that's not really going to be enough to defeat this kind of German armor push. You can see this one got isolated over here, so we're able to run into it with a Flak Panzer and a Panzer IV. And the combination of that is just very easily going to run around that, take it out very easily. I'm able to get some view of these Zisses over here with my Panzer Grenadiers. These things are going to take a long time before they can kill my guys, but I call it Insector Artillery. Now, he's trying to dodge by going forward, but then he moves back when he sees all my units. And so he moves into the sector artillery and just takes tons of casualties. So that was a good call-in of artillery there. I really need to use my artillery call-ins more often. I could also have used this to get close air support, but that's either way. Either of them is pretty good. He picks up his guns again. So annoying, but I do wipe out yet another unit. At this point in time, though, he's just got his units clumped up together. He's waiting for a single cheeky shot to try and wipe out a tank in a single go. And he's going to actually come pretty damn close to it. So I try and swarm around him with my tanks, and I managed to take some hits, and I managed to get around behind just barely. We are going to lose this thing, I think, to the guards' rifles. It's hard to say for sure what the fatal hit was, but in any event, all of those guys are dead now. I'm going to be hitting these guards' rifles pretty hard. He's sort of got a lot of fuel, but he needs like 400 or something, or he needs like 300, I think, to get T-3485, so I'm able to do a lot of damage here. Flak Panzer comes in, and we start tearing down his base, and this is going to be GG. Like, he can't recover from this at this point in time. Just too much armor in his base, doing too much. I've called in some sector artillery. He just had nothing to resist that with. So anyway, that is a look at the German Wehrmacht forces, or the basic Germans. Let's take a look at them versus the Americans. Okay, welcome back. This is the Americans. I've got the view a bit skewed for some reason. I'm not really sure why that is, but I kind of like it like this, so we'll just leave it as is for now. Anyway, this is the American faction. As you can see, we'll look at them for a little bit first off. So, as you can see, they can start off right away with their riflemen, just like the Soviets can start off with their conscripts right away without having to build anything. They can also build rear echelon troops and an ambulance. The ambulance is their sort of medic unit that lets them heal their guys. But the riflemen cost 280. They're a much, much more powerful basic unit than conscripts or grenadiers. They're actually one of the best starting units in the game, other than the Sturm Pioneers. And they've got a really good rifle attack. They're a durable, hardy unit. They are very cheap to reinforce. And they've also got a really great set of weapons that they can choose from. They can take Browning automatic rifles, they can take bazookas, and they can take these light machine guns. And all these different weapon choices make them much, much more effective at combat, and they can take multiple weapons if they want. They just have to research the light machine guns and the bazookas, and once they've done that, they can just pull them off of the racks and they can get as many of them as they want. So they become very, very effective units later on, very reliable, and they're good throughout the entire game compared to a lot of infantry. Over here, I'm doing the same strategy. I'm trying to take over the resource points, and I'm not worrying as much about the capture points. Now, I'm going to admit, I got my ass handed to me by a lot of American players. This is going to be one that I fished out that was one of the ones that was finally a win when I sort of figured out what the hell is going on with these guys, and where they weren't using this really cheap doctrine where all the riflemen were rank 2 veterans at the start of the game, which is nonsense. Huh, I guess there's a limit to render distance in this. Anyway, they're just spamming rifles. This is what Americans do. They just are building endless streams of riflemen. Every time they get a chance to build them, they build them. They're incredibly cheap to reinforce, they're incredibly powerful, and they're incredibly versatile at all stages of the game. So there's no real point not to just get lots and lots of riflemen. So, got riflemen over here. The rear echelon troops are just trying to build up. They're doing what their name suggests. They're just capturing the back rear end points. On the other hand, I've been forced back very far. I've decided I'm going to get a sniper to try and deal with these riflemen. The sniper is basically going to be able to pick off quite a lot of these riflemen, able to sort of justify his expensive cost here, because I am going to be able to do that. Now, I've been forced to start off building this building, and I'm also forced to build this very expensive bunker. So this is why, like, I'm so far behind in troop production compared to this American who's just got nothing but riflemen being pumped out at an endless stream. Over here, forced to retreat back with these engineers because these rear echelon troops manages to beat them somehow. I don't think they're actually supposed to beat pioneers at close range, but anyway. Not too worried about that. My opponent here is pulling back his troops. He wants to sort of replenish them a little bit here. I don't know how much... Yeah, they're only 28 to replenish each, so... it's close to the cost of the Soviets' infantry to replenish, but they're much, much more effective than the conscripts. In any event, though, I'm trying to move my sniper around. I don't know why he doesn't shoot here. He just sort of runs closer and then gets too close. But pick off another one of them. Our guy sort of runs backwards back here. My infantry sets up here. They're just sort of here to delay. And then I get another shot off, and that forces the units back. And having a unit that's sort of in cover that if he runs past, he'll take a lot of damage from is a great way to use a sniper. Having your sniper just a little bit behind so that he can either run past your unit while chasing the sniper and just take a lot of free damage, or he can stop chasing your sniper and just immediately get destroyed. Now, he's got this big friggin' wave of infantry here, and that's just what Americans do. They sort of ball up their infantry early game, and they will be able to wipe out anything short of Sturm Pioneers and other units of a similar sort. Now, we've got this wall here in our base, and we're basically hiding from our base. Getting in one of the dumbest fights I've ever really seen, but I've got my Grenadiers. They've got much better cover than the Americans, so despite the fact that he's got better infantry, we'll be able to sort of push forward, take out a lot of these units. This lieutenant here is part of his tech path, so he has to retreat in fairly early, and he's forced back, and I'm able to sort of reclaim my position a little bit. Sniper, again, forced back here. You have to retreat often and quickly with snipers because they are very, very easy to kill. He's at 8 kills now, though. It's very good. So, yeah, he's got the passive rifleman defensive structures. He's able to build mines and other defensive things. Not all that relevant for him. Still, though, I'm able to start picking, again, more of these rifles off. And then I'm able to run in more troops, chase them away. I'm only going to get one more kill with the sniper, but he's done his job. I mean, if you think about it, 10 of those kills, 280. Well, actually, no, that's pretty bad, because these guys are so cheap to reinforce, but either way, able to reassert some dominance over the battlefield, lose the sniper here. Just immediately, just happens like in an instant, but that is the way snipers are. It's kind of nice having 2 when you're playing as the Soviets, but that's a bit besides the point. Either way, just recapping, I don't want his pressure mounting too heavy on me. I have not yet escalated to... Have I escalated? Yeah, I have. I'm escalating to Battle Phase 2, in fact. I've basically skipped Tier 1, it looks like, but either way. Chased away those rear echelon troops, capturing this point here. Just really want to force him back onto his heels as hard as possible, but here's what the Americans do best. They just build a goddamn ball, and they sort of dominate the early game with it. If you can live to the late game, Americans fall off really hard, and if you can get to the late game, that's where Germans shine. Like, they will absolutely destroy the Americans late game if you can get there and have some good resources. So that's all that I'm really working towards. These guys, I should probably actually have gotten them working a little bit faster even. But he's got this really scary half-track over there. Once again, using this cover to sort of chase back his units. Since I'm in my own base, it's easier for me to reinforce my units than it is for him to. And once I see this, though, I sort of am like, okay, that's too much. So I have to retreat here as well, so not the best situation. Really just being pushed back into my base, but fortunately I have got a lot of back caps, and he's not focusing enough on the capture points. Either way, I've got a couple Panzer Grenadiers now, and they're excellent units in that they can actually take the fight to these American troops to a certain extent. They're not necessarily going to run into that gigantic ball of riflemen and live. All that they can do is sort of 1v1. They can take a rifleman squad on. They can add a lot of firepower to your units as you move. But either way, I'm just recapping these resource points yet again. Just chasing these guys off that point. They're going to retreat, no problem. But the Americans, in a lot of ways, feel a lot stronger than the Soviets. The Soviets have a weak late game anyway, but they don't really have a particularly strong early game to make up for it. Theoretically, like, they've got a good solid mid game with T-34s or what have you, but it really feels like they're on the back foot compared to the Americans. Like, this unit just got loaded up with a whole ton of special weapons. I think they took like two bazookas and 2 light machine guns or some bullshit like that. Either way, it's a really, really scary unit now. Over here, rear echelon troops again. Going to be fairly easy to overwhelm those guys, but they get a lot of assistance all of a sudden, so I'm forced to retreat. Not a good situation. In any event, though, I can finally start to think about building tanks. I'm going to build an Ostwind, because I do think that that works well against infantry. It's basically as tough as a Panzer IV, so it is a good choice for the situation. I know his ball was up around here, so I figure that I can try to move to stop these guys, but a lieutenant is actually a really strong unit. It's a high-risk, high-reward unit to actually use in combat, because these things do actually negotiate your tech paths. If you don't have your lieutenant, you can't build higher tech units. In any event, though, I've got my Ostwind. It's going to sort of drive on into this fray here, and it's going to get off in a lot of really good shots after it misses like a ton of shots, but yeah, you can see the Flak Panzer sort of doing its thing here. So I like these things. They're a little bit inexpensive, they're pretty durable, and they've got a good gun, especially against infantry. I'm starting to move out my troops yet again, but I mean, my opponent has so many riflemen that he could actually kill my Ostwind with just those guys. Over here, I'm taking these fuel points, or rather I'm building fuel points over these, because I really do want to be able to build higher tier tanks. I'm also taking theirs, but unfortunately they've got this M4 Sherman right now, which is going to be able to take out my Flak Panzer pretty easily. So at this point in time, my only real hope are my Panzerschrecks, and I would also really like to get an upgrade to my armor companion. In any event, he moves his infantry in here, and they just get owned. He loses a lot of infantry in that push, but he doesn't care because he's got tons and tons of munitions. Now, I take out the engine of his M4, and then I Panzerschreck it a couple times, but like it manages to get away. It is really fast for a vehicle with an injured engine, and then I miss with a ton of shots with my Panzerschrecks. Like that missed again, that missed. So, like, I'm forced to retreat with them. I actually dropped a Panzerschreck here. It's a good thing that he doesn't actually pick it up, but, I mean, that was still really bad. And he's got his Major and his... Like, he's got everything over here, so he can just repair his stuff right on the battlefield here. Still, I've lost my Ostwind, which is a really bad thing.
We're losing a capture point.
I'm still just operating on capturing behind my opponent, so that's perfectly fine. But, yeah, at this point in time, with the heavy armor that my opponent has that I don't have, he can really sort of do a number on me, and I can't retaliate very well. Fortunately, though, I think my Panzer IV is just about on the field, and I have got a second Panzerschreck unit at this point in time. So I've got 4 Panzerschrecks on the field, and my Panzer IV. So all of that combined is a lot of anti-tank. We're going to be able to take out this Sherman in this particular push.
Now available in your sector.
Yeah, they've got time on target artillery barrage. Either way, though, I managed to annihilate a lot of the troops here, but his Sherman comes in from the side, and I'm just like, oh shit. He calls in that artillery strike that I just mentioned, and I'm forced to retreat a little bit back. It forces his units to stop, though, which is good for me. But his Sherman is going to get completely destroyed by Panzerschrecks, so get to watch that. I'm shooting at the wrong target here. He brings in the Sherman, and sure enough, that Sherman is dead. At this point in time, I'm repairing my Panzer because I really need it to live. But yeah, he's really forced back. And at this point in time, I'm able to retake those capture points, and he'd accomplished very little on that big push that he had. He had a really big advantage, and he didn't use it properly just because he charged straight for me, and he tried to take me out in a head-on assault. And I managed to defend that despite the fact that my base defenses here suck. Like, look at what this points at. This points at nothing. This points at nothing. It's one of the worst positioned ones I've ever seen. Anyway, at this point in time, I know he's missing his Sherman, so I'm able to sort of move my tank in aggressively here. And you can see me just using it very aggressively here. He's forced to push back all of his stuff here. Really good situation for me to be in.
Tank destroyer is ready for orders.
Now, he builds a Jackson tank destroyer, which is a very good unit. It's going to very easily be able to destroy this Panzer, but on the other hand, it's also very fragile. So if it takes a couple hits from Panzerschrecks, it's gone. Like, it dies immediately to Panzerschrecks. And I've got 4 of them, so it's not really a good purchase for him to have chosen that, because it's such a fragile unit. As opposed to here, like, I've got my Panzerschrecks just getting completely friggin' owned for no reason. But, yeah, we're able to run away. He's built a lot of landmines, but they're shitty mines. He needs to build, like, 20 on a single spot before I actually take out one of my tanks, so that just goes to show that American mines, you know, they're just really, really bad. In any event, though, I've got another Panzer IV out in the battlefield, and I've got this Panzer IV just about repaired, so we're in a situation where I can now try and close this out, and that sort of weaker late game for the Americans is starting to really pull through. He's floating a bajillion manpower, like 1,300. It's a lot, but he's already got 4 of these damned infantry squads, and he's almost at the population cap. He wants to fill that last bit of his population cap with armor, so he can't actually spend this manpower. It is ridiculous that he can save that much manpower using the Americans. But, I mean, like, they don't really need manpower, which is ridiculous. Everybody should need manpower. In any event, my Panzer starts getting a little bit owned, but we managed to kill his tank destroyer before anything too bad can happen to it. I'm forced to retreat with that, and at this point in time, my opponent does quit the match. So, yeah, that's sort of playing as the Germans against the Americans. As you can see, it was a much, much harder time if they had been a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more dominant in the early game. Just a little bit more and capable of taking these control points and denying me resources. I would not have been able to win this game. Anyway, I hope you found this enjoyable, and of course, as always, I hope to see you all next time.